Wealth isn't about money, it's about freedom. And freedom comes from understanding how the world and your own mind actually works. The Almanack of Naval Ravikant is a curated collection of thoughts, interviews, and insights from Naval Ravikant, a Silicon Valley investor and modern philosopher. Rather than offering traditional financial advice, the book explores wealth, happiness, leverage, and the art of living a meaningful life. Naval defines wealth as wealth is assets that earn while you sleep. True wealth is not about trading time for money, but about building systems that scale, using leverage. Wealth is a skill, not luck. Naval believes that wealth creation is a repeatable skill. Luck may play a role, but sustainable success comes from understanding leverage. He identifies three main forms of leverage: capital, labor, permissionless leverage, code and media. Code and media allow individuals to create massive impact without gatekeepers. Build specific knowledge and escape competition. Naval advises against competing in crowded markets. Don't compete, build something uniquely yours. Specific knowledge is personal, creative, and hard to teach. When combined with accountability and leverage, it becomes the foundation of wealth. Money is a tool, not the goal. Unlike most wealth books, this one moves toward happiness. Naval argues that money reduces suffering but does not guarantee happiness. The real goal is freedom, control over your time, environment, and attention. Happiness is a learnable skill. Happiness, according to Naval, is not something you chase, it's something you practice. Key ideas include reducing unnecessary desires, avoiding comparison, living in the present, prioritizing mental peace. Happiness comes from subtracting, like not adding. Play long-term games. The most valuable things in life compound over time: knowledge, relationships, reputation, and wealth. Naval's advice is simple. Pick long-term games with long-term people. Consistency matters more than intensity. The book ultimately teaches that wealth is about freedom, happiness is internal, and a good life is intentionally designed. Next, we'll explore how Naval's ideas can be applied to work, learning, investing, and daily decision-making in the modern world.
All right, let's get right into it. We're going to unpack the ideas of Naval Ravikant. You probably know him. He's this brilliant entrepreneur and thinker who's got so many of us hooked on his wisdom. And his teachings kind of circle around this huge paradox. How do you get rich, which is all about desire and wanting more, while at the same time finding happiness, which seems to come from, well, not wanting more? It sounds like they completely cancel each other out, right? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dig into.
So this is the big question, isn't it? Especially if you're ambitious. You want to build things, achieve things, make your mark. But you also just want to be happy. You want to be at peace. And it really feels like you've got to pick one. But here's the thing about Naval's philosophy. He says you don't. You just have to realize you're playing two completely different games at the exact same time.
And this quote just nails it. It perfectly captures that tension. Success is that little voice saying, "This isn't good enough, I need more." And happiness is that feeling of, you know what, this moment is perfect, I have enough. So how in the world do you make those two things work together? Well, let's break down Naval's playbook, starting with game number 1.
So the first game is the one we play out in the real world. It's the external game, and it's all about building wealth. But we have to stop right here, because what Naval means by wealth, well, it's almost certainly not what you're thinking.
Okay, this is such a critical point. Money is just paper. It's a social IOU we use to trade things. Wealth. Wealth is different. Wealth is the actual thing, the business, the piece of software, the investment that's cranking out value for you 24/7. Money comes and goes. Wealth is what buys you freedom.
And that's the whole point of this external game. It's not about the fancy cars. It's not about the huge house. It's about buying your time back. Total and complete ownership of your time. I mean, think about it. If you have to ask someone for permission to take a vacation, are you really free? The real goal of wealth is to be the master of your own calendar. So how do you actually build this freedom-generating wealth? Naval lays out this beautifully simple 3-part formula. And it's not about grinding yourself into dust or working 100-hour weeks. It's about working smart by combining 3 incredibly powerful ideas. Let's get into them.
This brings us to the first pillar, and honestly, it's a game changer. Specific knowledge. Now, this isn't what you crammed for in college. Specific knowledge is that weird, unique thing that you're naturally obsessed with. It's your genuine curiosity. When you lean into that, you become the only person in the world who can do what you do. And what happens then? Competition it becomes irrelevant. So how do you find your specific knowledge? The clues are already there. Think back to what you were into as a kid, what you do on a Saturday morning with no one telling you what to do. The key is to find the thing that feels like play to you, but everyone else looks at and thinks is hard work. That's your signal. That's the gold you need to start digging for.
All right, pillar number 2 is accountability. In simple terms, this just means putting your name on it, taking the risk publicly. You're the captain of the ship. Yeah, it means you take the blame if things go wrong, but, and this is a big but, it also means you get the credit and the rewards when they go right. You can't get wealthy hiding in a crowd. And the third pillar, the real force multiplier, is leverage. Now, you can get leverage from labor, but that's the worst kind. Your input is tied one-to-one with your output. You can get it from capital, from money, which is way better. But the most powerful forms of leverage in our lifetime? Code and media. Why? Because they have what's called zero marginal cost of replication. You can write a piece of code once or record one video, and it can serve 10 people or 10 million people while you're on vacation. That is insane leverage.
Okay, so let's say you do it. You master the formula, you use leverage, you win the external game, you've bought your freedom. But here's the kicker, and Naval is crystal clear about this. None of that is going to automatically make you happy. For that, you have to turn inward and learn how to play a totally different game, the internal one. Man, this idea right here is so profound. Think about it. Anytime you say, I want that, you're basically signing a contract with yourself that says, I will be unhappy until I get this thing. And the moment you get it, you just find something new to desire. It's a treadmill of dissatisfaction. And the real irony? It's the exact same engine that made you successful in the first place.
So, according to Naval, you've got 2 options. Path number 1 is to try and satisfy every single desire you have, which, let's be honest, is completely impossible. Path number 2, the much smarter path, is to train yourself to want less. It's about being incredibly picky about the desires you choose to keep instead of just chasing everything that glitters.
And this is a huge mental shift. Happiness isn't that fleeting high you get when something good happens. It's a skill. It's something you practice, like learning an instrument. It's the skill of cultivating a default state of inner peace, a state where, in this very moment, you feel like nothing is missing.
And that's the real key. We spend our entire lives trying to solve all the little problems and worries our mind throws at us. We're chasing peace of mind. But the true goal is to get a little peace from mind. It's about realizing that constant chatter in your head isn't actually you. You're the one who hears the chatter.
Okay, so this isn't just some abstract idea. There are things you can actually do. You can meditate, not to silence your mind, but just to watch your thoughts come and go without getting swept away. Be really careful about who you spend your time with, your 5 chimps, because their state of mind is contagious. And maybe the biggest one of all, learn to accept reality as it is, not as you wish it were. Resisting reality is the root of so much suffering.
So we've got the external game of wealth on one side and the internal game of happiness on the other. How do they actually fit together? This is where everything we've talked about really clicks into place. And here it is. This is the grand synthesis. Wealth is not the goal. It's a tool. Winning the external game is about solving all your money problems so they're just gone. It clears the board. It buys you the time and the mental space to focus on the much harder and way more important internal game of finding that inner peace.
I want to leave you with this one last thought for Naval because it's a powerful one. When you look back on your life, what really defines you? It's the struggles you chose to take on, the difficult things you decided were worth suffering for. Whether that's building a business or training your own mind, that's your real story.
So the final question really isn't for me, it's for you. Since both wealth and happiness require hard work and even a little bit of suffering, what games are you consciously choosing to play? And are those the games that are going to lead you to a life that doesn't just look good on paper, but one that actually feels good to live?